Hey guys, Mike here. Happy Sunday. So it's been a little while since I went live. This is probably the longest I've gone in probably like 3 years. It's been probably almost a week before I went before going live, or not going live rather. But I want to talk about self-love. And can you be successful without loving yourself, without that self-love? Now this came up a couple times today. I was, at church, and a couple people talked about it. And then the sermon wasn't necessarily around it, but it came up. A couple people mentioned it, so I said, you know what? Let me dive into this a little bit, and I want to give you 3 tips on how to love yourself so you can achieve greatness and stop holding yourself back. Do me a favor, if you're watching live, just say hi, let me know you're on live. If you're catching on the replay, drop the word replay in the comment section. But I want to give you 3 tips. But before I do that, I want to talk about the concept of self-love. Because when these people were talking about it, it made me think of myself, and it made me just think of people in general that, hey Rod, it made me think of people in general that are keeping themselves from greatness, from doing really big things. Now, there's a whole other reason for me believing that what's holding you back, right? I believe that there's something totally different holding you back. But in any case, there's something holding us back. And it's holding us back from loving ourselves, from having self-confidence in ourselves, from trusting ourselves, believing in ourselves. Truly doing that. I know a lot of you guys say, oh yeah, I'm doing well, I'm doing great. Everyone's living their best life. Everyone's got the perfect spouse, the perfect kids, the perfect abs. Everyone's doing great. I get it. But when it's just you and you're sitting by yourself, or you're sitting with some people that you really trust, and you can be vulnerable, and you can admit to yourself, listen, I know I deserve greatness. I know I was put here to do more. Why haven't I done it? Or how about this? For me, it was, why do I keep screwing up my life? Why do I keep messing up? See, and if you've heard me on any of my videos, a lot of times, if you follow me for any amount of time, you've probably heard me say this before. I never had a fear of failure. I had a huge fear of having success, to the point where anytime things were going good in my life, now it could be relationships, finances, like things were just going good, I would always do something to throw a wrench in it and screw everything up. Because I didn't, deep down, and I'm being vulnerable with you guys, deep down, I didn't love myself. Like deep down. Now, on the surface, I was cocky, a little arrogant, but I wasn't, I wasn't real. And I really didn't love myself 100%. Now, I thought kindly of myself. I always looked at myself as a good person, but deep down, I was scared. I was afraid. I had a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I was very I had a lot of insecurities. Now, people said to me all the time, "What? You're insecure?" Yeah, a lot of insecurities. But here's what I know about people, and here's what I know about you watching this. Yes, you. Right? We've all been hurt. We all have insecurities. There's something that someone said to us when we were younger. Whether it's you're too tall, or you're too short, or you're too fat, or you're too skinny, or you're too stupid, you're too ugly, you're this. Someone said it to us. It could have been a relative, it could have been a teacher, but someone said it to us, and you know what? For one of the first times in our lives, we believed it. And I don't know when that happened for you, but I know it happened to me, and it stuck with me for a long time. And I didn't believe that I was going to have success. I didn't believe that I deserved success. And deep down, it was a self-love. I didn't love myself. because people would make comments about me, and I know where it came from. I don't know like the exact instance, but I do remember as a child growing up, some of the my friends, their parents didn't like me. I was a little punk. And that's a whole different story. But I was a punk when I was younger, like 10, 11, 12, whatever. I know it's only kid stuff or whatever. But I was that kid, believe it or not, that some of my friends' parents didn't want them hanging around with. I was that guy that they said, right, birds of a feather flock, don't hang around with that kid, right? He's nothing but trouble. And I was. I got into trouble. I did stuff I shouldn't have done. Now we all have. But I was labeled as that kid. And I just remember this feeling of some of the parents not wanting me around because, right? And it hurt and it bothered me. And I think that's where it stemmed from. And I haven't talked about this ever. But when it comes to self-love, there's something holding you back, right? We weren't born just to go to school, get good grades, if we even did that, to go get a job, to work for 40 years, 50 years, right? And struggle and be broke and turn into a drug addict or an alcoholic or cheat on our wives or kick our dog and just be miserable and unhappy. I'm not saying that's you or you're doing any of that stuff, but we all go through ups and downs of life. And that's one thing that we all have in common. But why did you stop believing in yourself and stop loving yourself and you just stopped? Like I've seen so many people just give up, or they're just kind of coasting by. They seem happy. You go on Instagram and they're the happiest they've ever been. But here's what I do know, because I meet so many people, and I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but people trust me, and I'll never, expose or put out any information that anyone ever tells me. But here's what I do know. And I meet a lot of people, and I love meeting people. But when it's just me and them, and I find out that, yeah, you think that they're super successful, they're super happy, but here's what I do know. They're also super scared. They've also been super hurt. And they're stuck. And deep down, they're stuck. They're not happy. Like there's something missing from their lives. And that is what I wanted to talk about. And it comes down to self-love. Because if you truly love yourself, not for anyone else, not for your mom, not for your dad, not for family members, not for your kids, not for anybody, but you truly love yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. You believe in yourself, you trust yourself, you love yourself. By the way, there's not too many people in this world that you can really trust. Like really, really trust. Not too many, right? But you can trust yourself, but when you start loving yourself, like you really love yourself, I mean, you're happy, genuine. And by the way, happiness isn't the car you drive, isn't the clothes you wear, isn't the things you have. It has nothing to do with that. Now, if you're that kind of person or you're in that stage of your life where you're still chasing those things, where I was for a very long time, up until a few years ago, it was always things, chasing, that stuff doesn't make you happy. Or love yourself. But when you really, really love yourself, anything's possible. Anything. And that is where greatness lies. So let me give you those 3 tips, okay? Number 1, you need to embrace your inner critic. And here's what I mean by that. That voice inside your head, right? Sometimes it's telling you, great job. Most of the time, it's telling you, you could do better, or you missed this, or you missed that, like that critic. Now, again, just like constructive criticism, not everyone can take it. And I think a lot of us, we tend to suppress that because we don't want to hear that, man, we could do a better job than that. Like, and here's what I want you to think about. Whatever you're doing, whatever it is in life, whatever it is, whether you're a police officer, you're a teacher, you're a construction worker, whatever you do on a daily basis, do you truly give it your all? Like 100%. You give it your all. Here's what I can't stand. Like, how can I say this without, I don't mean to offend anybody, but there are certain jobs out there, certain workers that they only get paid to a certain time of day, 3 o'clock, let's say. And when 3 o'clock hits, boom, they roll that shade down and they're done. That's not my job. I don't get paid for it. I get paid till 3 o'clock. I don't get paid till 3:01. Are you that kind of person? Or are you the kind of person where you just do what it takes? And everything you do, and I'm not saying be a perfectionist, although there's nothing wrong with that, but are you doing the best job you can do. And I'll be honest with you, for the most, I would say 90% of what I do that. But there's sometimes I'm like, man, I'm too tired, or I don't feel like doing that. I just want to, right? But then the inner critic is, Mike, you should do that. You know you should do that. Why are you walking away from that? You know you should do that, and you can do better. That's what I'm talking about. Listen to that, because you will be rewarded. Now, it might not be financially from your boss, or you might not get recognized by your spouse for doing that good job, but I promise you, God's watching. And isn't that all that matters? Is that you're impressing him? That's it. So when you work like you're working for the Lord. I didn't mean to turn this into a sermon, but it's true. And I heard that a long time ago. When you work for the Lord, because he sees everything. Now, that's how I live, and that's how I live my life. Number one is embrace your inner critic. So listen to yourself, right? Listen to that voice. Number two is respect those tough emotions that you experience. So let me share one of them with you. Anger. I used to have anger issues. I used to get angry all the time. You know what it was? Now, by the way, there's nothing wrong with getting angry. There is nothing wrong with having that emotion, being angry. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Actually, Jesus got angry. But there's nothing wrong with that emotion of getting angry. It's how you handle it. So if you get angry, nothing wrong with that. But you pull out a gun and shoot someone, that's a problem. You pull out your fist and punch someone, that's a problem. You kick the dog, that's a problem. But there's nothing wrong with being being angry and having that feeling of anger. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, it motivates me, right? Because there's certain things that just make me angry that I see, and it makes me work harder. So if you channel it the right way, there's nothing wrong with that. So, respect those tough emotions. Now, it could be, it could be the emotion of crying, right? Of sadness, right? I remember for a long time growing up, it was boys don't cry, men don't cry, or you're a sissy if you cry. And I remember times of getting upset and not wanting to cry because, right? And then I would go hide in my room by myself and cry. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Those, respect those emotions. If you feel it, acknowledge it, right? And go through that emotion. And number three is being you, not anyone else. Being you, because you can never be anyone else but yourself. And if you haven't heard this, I love this right here. 400 trillion to 1. What is 400 trillion to 1? The odds of you even being born. 400 trillion to 1. So when you were conceived, you already won the race. You beat out 400 trillion other sperm and you won. Now, might sound a little silly, far-fetched, but it's not. It's true. It's a statistic. 400 trillion to 1. You already won. And you're here. And in the game of life, you're playing it small. And you're not loving yourself? Why are you not loving yourself? Why are you not writing that book that you're supposed to write? Or doing those live videos that you said you're going to do? Or sharing your experiences with other people and impacting other people's lives and making their lives a little bit better? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Especially in these times of uncertainty, these times of destruction and craziness that's going on out there. Be a beacon of light in someone else's life by the posts you put out there. Be that positive person. There's so much negativity out there, right? And you've heard me say this before, that if that's all you're seeing on your social media channels is negativity, that's because you choose to see it. Meaning you can delete them, you can hide that, and because the more you watch that stuff, the more that stuff is being shown to you. I choose to watch and follow positive, inspirational people. So, my apologies for not being positive and influential for you guys over the last week, because that was a little bit too long. It just didn't feel right because I was going live a few days a week. So, expect to see more of me this week, but this is something that I just wanted to touch on. I wanted to talk about the self-love, because I see people that they get caught up in life and drugs and alcohol and women and men, and they're so unfocused, and maybe they're working too much, and it all comes down to they're not loving themselves. And that's what's holding them back. They don't believe in themselves, or they need someone just to believe in them. So for you, if you're not there, be that for somebody else, right? If you're the one that everything's going good for you right now, if your life is going great, share that with people. Now, if your life isn't going that great, you know what? Maybe you need someone to share that with you. So get around those people, okay? So those are the 3 tips. Again, number 1, embrace your inner critic, okay? Listen to that. Number 2 is those tough emotions when it comes to, anger or sadness or whatever. Like, experience that, whatever you're going through. Disappointment, right? Maybe someone let you down. Does that not happen? Unfortunately, a little too often. Experience that. Go through that. Get a good support system. Be around the right people that can help you through that. And number 3, be you. And never forget, you already won. 400 trillion to 1. All right, guys, have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys this week. Take care, everyone.